Live from across mid-Missouri, this is KRCG 13 Live at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mark Hespen. Columbia City Council members have approved pay raises for some members of their police department. Police Chief Jill Schutte sat down with KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt to explain how larger paychecks will help her recruit and retain officers.
City Council members approved an amendment that adjusts the hourly pay for police officers. City officials determine raises on the number of years of service by an officer. The new pay levels range from $28.85 per hour to $46.40 per hour. Columbia Police Chief Jill Schutte tells me she is confident that these changes will help her with both recruitment and retention.
So I think that helps us attract post-certified applicants, so those applicants can come and they can start here above the minimum pay, and it is great for us because we get them on the street quicker because they can usually go through an abbreviated field training program.
The Columbia Police Department currently has 37 vacancies spread throughout different divisions. Schutte tells me she is optimistic that the new pay increases will help fill some open positions. She doesn't worry about losing many officers to retirement because of her younger staff.
We also have a lot of professional staff jobs. You don't have to be a gun-carrying police officer to be a member of the Columbia Police Department, so we do have some positions open in those jobs as well. But if you are, it's a great place to work. There's a lot of opportunity here.
The new raises for police officers cost Columbia taxpayers an extra $800,000 a year. The raises begin on Sunday, April 14th. Reporting in Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
Chief Schutte also says she's considering the return of merit-based pay increases. The Missouri House is sending a resolution to the Senate to change the initiative petition process subject to voter approval. The resolution would change the signature requirement for constitutional amendments from 8% of registered voters in 6 of the 8 congressional districts to 8% in all 8 congressional districts. The resolution would also require a public forum in each congressional district to be held by the Secretary of State to gather public comment on ballot proposals. And the House resolution includes ballot candy language, which says only citizens of the United States who are residents of Missouri and properly registered to vote will be considered legal voters. And under intense media spotlight, state lawmakers have taken a step toward protecting the Social Security and VA benefits paid to foster children. The Senate today approved legislation that would prevent the Children's Division in the Social Service Department from using that money to pay care expenses. The bill would make a few exceptions, including school fees and supplies. Critics noted the current system had some foster kids paying for care and others not, constituting unequal protection. The Senate passed the bill, by a vote of 29-1. The National Weather Service today says a small tornado touched down in St. James early Tuesday morning. According to the Springfield office, the EF0 tornado had peak winds of 67 miles per hour and was on the ground for just 1 minute. No one was hurt in the storm. The Weather Service says it caused some damage to small outbuildings at the Lucy Wortham James Elementary School before damaging a light pole at the high school football stadium. The Callaway County Sheriff's Office is asking for help in identifying a man's body found in the Missouri River back in 2019. The body, now known as the Callaway County John Doe, was found in the river without any clothing back near Tebbets. An autopsy determined that the man was about 45 to 50 years old, 5'8" to 5'10", and weighed about 185 pounds. The most identifiable markings on the man were his chest tattoo, which Callaway County Sheriff's Office described as the letter D, and 2 others which showed J. Diddy above and J. Dog below. The man's body was also had identifiable scars on his left wrist and apparent remnants of a beard. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Callaway County Sheriff's Office. In an update to a story we've been following this week, Rashee Rice's attorney said today the breakout star for the champion Chiefs was speeding and one of the drivers of a sports car that ended up causing a pileup on a Dallas highway last weekend. Rice left the scene of that crash that involved 6 cars. 4 people in total suffered minor injuries. Rice's attorney spoke today at a news conference and said it's, quote, a good question that's still being investigated as to why Rice left the scene of the crash, but he declined to elaborate. At the news conference, his attorney also said he does expect Rice to be charged in some way relating to the crash.
New polling shows former President Donald Trump is ahead in many crucial swing states, some of the same ones that President Joe Biden won in 2020. I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll have the story coming up.
An Atlanta area judge has rejected former President Donald Trump's attempt to get his Georgia election interference case dismissed. Fulton County Superior Court judge upheld the criminal indictment against Trump today. The judge rejected the argument Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election were protected under the First Amendment. The judge said Trump's false election claims are not protected because they're alleged to have furthered criminal activity. A trial date has not been set. Also today, the federal judge in Trump's classified documents case denied the motion to dismiss those charges. Trump's attorney argued he had the right to take classified documents with him after leaving office, but the judge's order leaves that open as a possible defense for Trump at trial. Developing right now, President Biden's support for Israel's war in Gaza has reached a turning point. Biden tells Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Israel must change course if the U.S. will continue to send military support. Biden says Israel must protect Palestinian civilians and aid workers and must provide proof. The White House is calling for specific, concrete, and measurable steps to address civilian harm and humanitarian suffering. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the U.S. will be looking for concrete changes to address the suffering in Gaza.
The president made it clear that our policies with respect to Gaza will be dependent upon our assessment of how well the Israelis make changes and implement changes to make the situation in Gaza better for the Palestinian people.
It comes after 7 aid workers with the World Central Kitchen were killed in Israeli airstrikes while delivering food to people in Gaza. Kirby notes the president was shaken by the attack. Israel has acknowledged responsibility for the strikes, but said the deaths were not intentional. We're just about 7 months out from the 2024 presidential election, and new polling this week shows President Joe Biden falling behind in several crucial swing states. As national correspondent Matt Galka shows us, former President Donald Trump might have the edge in a handful of states that could decide the presidency.
6 out of 7 critical swing